Today in this video, I'm going to show you how to blow out your sprinkler system. If you have a few of the basic tools, which I'll show you in a minute, you could do it yourself, save some money, or you just may enjoy the process. Come with me and let's get started. So here are some of the items you need to blow out your own sprinkler system. First of all, you need an air compressor. I'm using a Craftsman 4 horsepower electric air compressor, 25 gallon. This should get the job done. So see what you have around, or if you rent something similar to this, it should work. Second, you need an extension cord. And by the way, when you're using an extension cord, you want a thick extension cord because this has a lot of draw on it, meaning that it pulls a lot of electricity, especially to start the motor of this air compressor. So a good thick extension cord, and then some tools. And here's a couple of tools you need. This is a Leatherman, and it's the Skele-tool. I like using this. You can actually use a screwdriver, a standard screwdriver, or a pair of pliers. That will do just fine, but I love my Leatherman because it does everything. And then a little flashlight, because sometimes you get into some areas where it's dark, especially when you're turning off the sprinkler system or draining the petcock valve. You need a flashlight to see things. So those are the basic tools you need. Not a lot to get started. So let's continue on. So you can see here, this is a great idea. The homeowner actually covered up their backflow with a plastic bag, and I can tell there's a towel underneath there. This protects it from any cold snaps or even a mild freeze night that will just keep that backflow warm. This is a great idea if your backflow or your sprinkler system is going to be on when it freezes one night. So always recommend doing this. This is A+ right here. The first thing we want to do is go into the house and actually shut off the main valve for the sprinkler system, which is usually located in the basement. So in this little closet in the basement is all kinds of stuff. You have your main turn off to the house here. You got a couple of them. There's one down there, there's one there, and there's one here. But this shut off right here goes to the side and right out the side of the house where the backflow is. So that's how I know it's a sprinkler system valve. So we're going to go ahead. This is a ball valve. So we're just going to turn this to 90 degrees. If it's with the pipe like this, it's on. If it's perpendicular from the pipe like that, it's off. So now it's off. Okay, now, so I ran outside, and before I drain the inside line, I got to open up the petcocks. Now they're right here. And I'm going to take my screwdriver and just turn them. Again, with the pipe is open, opposite of the pipe is closed. And I'm going to open this one too. And what that's going to do, got a little bit of water coming out of there, but it's going to allow water to drain from here, the backflow, into the house with gravity. And the reason why you open these is because you need some airflow to allow that to drain with the gravity fed option there. So both petcocks are open, and then we're going to hook up to one of these to blow out the sprinkler system. Really doesn't matter which one you hook up to, but I'm going to hook up to this one here. So now let's go inside and drain the inside line. So now I'm back inside, and you see underneath here is a little drain screw. So I'm going to go ahead and usually have to take a pliers right here and loosen up this drain screw. And I'm going to go ahead and loosen it up. We got a little water starting to come out. I'm going to go ahead and grab my bucket here to catch the water. So I got a bucket here. And now let's go ahead and my hand's in the way, but I'm going to release this drain screw right here to drop in the bucket. So right there now it's draining all the water right there, and it's gravity fed. So what it's doing is draining the water outside from that backflow that I was just showing you earlier, right down this copper tube right to this ball valve. So this is the only line that's draining right now from the backflow to the house. And I just like to keep a bucket under here while it's draining. And you can probably see the little drain screw in there, right down there at the bottom. And I just dropped it in there for now. And we'll just let that drain. So here's a little tip if you have a lot of water to drain. Maybe it's a long run. If you get a pail with a handle on it, you can always hook the handle to the top of the ball valve there and let it drain, which is what it's doing right now. It looks like it's almost done. And here, I want to show you is what the cap looks like for the drain plug right here. And as you can see here, maybe you can see this, there's a slight hole in it at the bottom of it here somewhere. There's generally a very slight hole in it. So when you put it on, I don't think you're gonna be able to see it here, it's so small. When you put it on, you're going to just put this on loosely. So if any water continues to drain out of here, it will drain into the bucket, and that will let you know that this valve's not shutting off all the way. Because if you put this screw back on when you're done all the way tight and your ball valve's leaking, which does happen, over the winter it will fill up this line and crack your backflow. So by putting this cap back on loosely after it's done draining, and then making sure that it completely stops dripping, that's going to ensure and tell you that this is now working properly, and you want to make sure that happens. So that's why we're not going to put it on real tight for the winter. We're going to leave it loose and then make sure it stops leaking. Okay, so now I'm going to take my compressor adapter and put it into the side of one of these petcocks right here and screw it in there. And I found just hand tight for this purpose is just fine. And then what I'm going to do is turn this one off. This goes into the basement. Remember, if it goes with the pipe, it's on. Opposite with the pipe, it's off. And the reason why I'm turning it off is because we just drained that line with gravity, and I don't want to blow air down in there. So this will keep air from blowing down back into that area there and causing air to squirt out and maybe blow and hit some things that you don't want to, and water squirt everywhere. So it's just an extra safety precaution. And then remember, we turned this petcock on also, but we're going to turn it off now, because what's going to happen, remember, opposite is off. So what's going to happen is that we're going to shoot air into here. It's blocked from going downstairs, so it's not going to go downstairs. It's going to go here. This is going to keep it from blowing out of here, go into the ground, and then run to your valve box and start to blow out the systems. So now, if this was open, I'd have a leak here and it'd blow air in here and then leak out here. We don't want that to happen. That's why I turned that back off. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my hose from my air compressor, put it in here, like so. There we go. It's snapped into place. And now I'm going to go ahead and start to run through the zones. But the first thing I need to do is plug in my air compressor and get it fully charged, full of air. And then once we do that, I'm going to go ahead and turn on each zone and run through the zones. And we'll do that in just a minute. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, next step is go to the clock. And I'm going to start zone 1 manually here. And it's going to go ahead and start pushing air up through zone 1 on the sprinkler system, and starts to blow out all the system there. You can see the water coming out. Now, you're not going to get all the water out, but you're going to get most of it out, especially with this size of a compressor. So you can see it got the big chunks out, and then it's doing a little more to get the most of the water out, the big chunks. I shouldn't say chunks, the big water droplets. There you go, big water droplets out. And now it's just getting out the mist here. So if you're concerned about the water level and you want to get more out, you can go ahead and run it again. But I think that's going to be fine for this one. I got most of it out. And this is poly pipe in the ground, which is a rubber pipe. And so it can flex a little bit if it gets frozen in there. But the idea is to get most of the water out. So if it does freeze and there's a little bit of water left in the line, it's almost impossible to get every drop of water out. But if there's a little bit of water left in the line, it has somewhere to go and won't break anything over the winter. So that's how we go ahead and blow out the zones. So now I'm just going to work through all the zones. This particular clock has 4 zones. So I'm going to work one by one through each 4 zones and do the exact same thing. All right, now that we're done blowing out all the zones, we're going to go ahead and prepare this backflow for the winter. So first of all, let's take out our chuck here for our air compressor. And then we're going to leave everything here, these 4 turns, at what we call half cock. So in the industry, there's a ball in there, and that means that ball is half open. And it also shows that someone blew out the sprinkler system. It's like a it's like a visual signal that this has been blown out when they're half cocked. So we're going to half cock both of these. And the reason why, this goes this way here, the reason why we leave them half cocked is because if there's any water or moisture left in there, it actually will have a place to go and not freeze and break a pipe. So we're going to half cock these petcocks also halfway here, just like that. And we're going to half cock this petcock here, just like that. So everything's half cock, all four. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're done with the outside here, and let's finish up on the inside. Okay, inside here, we're going to remove our bucket. It has some water in it there. And then we're going to grab this drain plug right here, and we're just going to put it on a few screws. We want to leave it loose, and we're just going to go ahead and just screw it on just lightly. And so what we're going to do, we don't do sprinkler blowouts as a service anymore, but when we were doing it, we would tell the customer, hey, come down here tonight, make sure this is not leaking. And as I said before, if it's leaking, it means this ball valve is not shutting off all the way, and this valve needs to be repaired. But if it stopped leaking, you're in good shape. But we leave it loose again for the winter time so you can prove that this is actually working. Because if you crank this up and put it on super tight and this is leaking, it will fill up the pipe and break your backflow. So that's a great little tip. But the key is, and I mean this is the key, because you could have a flood if you don't do this correctly. You got to come down and check this in a couple hours or that night to make sure it's not leaking, make sure the floor is dry and everything else. Now, if that's the case, we can go ahead and do that and we're all done. Now, if you don't want to take that risk and you just want to screw this on all the way, well, a lot of people do that, but you don't know for sure that it's shut off. Maybe after you confirm that it shut off, if you want to go ahead and tighten it up, that's okay too. But this is what I do. You can do what you want. I'm just telling you what I do, but you can do whatever you like. And with all that, we're done. I mean, it wasn't too difficult to blow out the sprinkler system, was it? I mean, come on. It wasn't that hard. So hopefully you'll be inspired to attempt this on your own, or at least you'll know exactly what's going on when someone else does it for you. Thanks for watching, and remember, green lawns, yes, even this time of year, make you smile. Look at that. It's October, and that is still a beautiful lawn. Now that's what I'm talking about.